Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Moran, and this is the place where I share my CrochetObjet knitting journey and everything that I am passionate about. And recently I sometimes also include a personal update from the war days here in Israel. In recent episodes, I chose to leave it out and to stick and keep my episode on the creative side. Basically, out of selfish reasons, I feel it is better for my mental health to keep this place happy and, a lift me up kind of space for me, and to keep it on the creative side. So let's see how it goes. I will leave this option open. Anyway, today is Thursday, February 22nd, and it's quite late than what I usually record, so I hope I will be lucky enough to have this episode and to have enough light for this episode. I only have 2 works in progress to share today, and I also created a crochet tutorial for you that I will add into the next part of the episode, which is related to one of the whips that I'm going to share with you. I hope I don't forget anything in the introduction, in the intro. I wanted to offer you to send me, I will put my email here on the screen. I wanted to offer you to send me questions, any questions you have. I get a lot of questions related to my CrochetObjet business, related to Etsy, to my workshops, my weekly meetings. So I thought I will try to, gather all the most frequent asked questions and create like a Q&A episode in the future. So if you would like to join and to, send a question, please send it to the email address that that is here on the screen. So today I have 2 works in progress, and by the way, our kefir grains are growing very, very well. They are very healthy, and this week we managed to make almost a full liter out of our grains. We almost have enough for a liter of milk. So this is an update on my kefir starter. Also, this morning we sent out my coziest memory blanket starter to Tammy, the knitter that was winning the giveaway that I made a few episodes ago. So thank you for participating in this giveaway, and this starter is on its way to you, Tammy. I hope it will provide you with many hours of joyful knitting as it provides me and the knitters here in my CrochetObjet knitting community. And today I'm wearing my yellow Marling Raglan. This is a self-drafted Raglan that I knitted top down. I have a full episode. If you scroll down in my channel, you will see it immediately. It is on the thumbnail, and you will realize where it is. I shared all the details about it on this episode. I am very, very happy with this lovely knit. I feel very lucky I added it to my wardrobe, which I, tend to describe as a minimalist wardrobe, and I'm very happy to have it. I wear it a lot, and I like it. I think we can start with the works in progress, but I have something in my head that tells me that I forgot to mention something in the intro. Anyway, if it will come up to my head, I will, I will talk about it. Yeah, this is what I wanted to say. I just wanted to welcome all the new subscribers in my channel. I really am so excited with all of you here, and yeah, the subscribers number is growing up and up every day, and I feel very lucky and very grateful to have you here. So if you are a new subscriber, a new visitor here, thank you so much for joining. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining as well. So I think we can start with the first work in progress, and it is something that I cast on last week, and I shared the new cast on my last week's episode. But as I was editing the footage, I looked at the yarn and thought, this needs to be full stripe sock. So on Friday evening, while cooking the Friday dinner, which is for Jewish, the Friday dinner is something very like for the family. We all gather together around the table, and it's more festive kind of weekly dinner. And so usually we have quite a lot of preparations, and Eyal and myself during the day, and early afternoon we have a lot of preparations. So during the time that we prepared the Friday dinner, I decided to rip out the rib that I knitted for another sock that I wanted to start knitting, the one that I shared with you last week. And I decided to go ahead and start knitting like a full stripe with a white striped full sock. And yeah, I cast on 64 stitches on a 2mm needle, and I cast on a 9-inch circular needle, which is usually my go-to needles for socks. So these are the 9-inch by Chiagu. So I cast on 64 stitches and knitted a 2x2 rib for I think 24 rounds. And then I just started knitting the leg portion, and I decided to go, I made a few trials, but eventually I decided to go with a 6 round stripe for each color. So I started with the main color, which is this mauvey kind of color. I think I prepared all the labels of the yarns. Yay to me that I remembered to do that. Anyway, I continued with the main color. I will in a second let you know what color it is and what wool it is. And I knitted, to be honest, on the first stripe I have 7 rounds, but it's a mistake, and I didn't think I have to rip out because I was too far away down here somewhere when I discovered it. And then I changed to the contrast color. And to be honest, I was completely in love while editing last week's episode. I felt I'm completely in love with this color combination, and I don't know where it came from because it's not my go-to colors. I'm less for the neon side here. I'm less, passionate with neons, but in this case, I felt it creates something so fresh in terms of colors. And I said, okay, I like it with my, like home trousers or home sweatpants, which are creamy. It looks so good with it that I said, okay, I need this kind of stripy socks. So I took quite a lot of footage during the week. Every day I took a footage of the progress every day to share with you today. I will edit at the end of the episode. But let me share everything about the yarn. So this mauve pink or purple is a wool that I purchased in my visit to yarn store here in Israel. I shared everything about this visit on one of the previous episodes. It's a Malabrigo yarn, but to be honest, I have two labels here and I'm not sure which one was the purple and mauve and which one was the green. Anyway, it's one of these two. So it's either 341 or 363 by Malabrigo. And it's the ultimate sock yarn. Yeah. And this is a 100 gram skein. It was a 100 gram skein with approximately 385 meters, 75% superwash merino, and 25% nylon. So the mauve, I have one green and one mauve. So one of them is this mauve color. So maybe 341 or 363. Anyway, I have both labels here. The neon yarn is a yarn that one of the knitters in the Mondays Club, Michal, she received in an order she placed, and when it arrived, she really didn't like it. Like, she didn't want it in her life, so she placed it here in my studio, and she said, if somebody want to use it, or maybe you want to split it and to give it to a few knitters to incorporate in socks or in whatever project, please feel free to do it. And it was here, and I offered it to the girls and nobody took it, but eventually I picked it up. So this is Socks Obsession yarns. And it's 75, 75-25 superwash merino and nylon, 4-ply sock, 100 grams, and 463 yards. The name of the color is Speeding Ticket? Not sure. Maybe you can pick it up yourself. So this is the neon yarn, and what can I tell you? I am in love, completely in love. Can't wait to have them and to start wearing them. And yeah, I just finished, I think it was yesterday, I finished the gusset decreases, and now I am making my way on the foot section. And yeah, as you can see, I made my go-to heel flap, which is a slip stitch heel flap and heel turn, and then I picked up for gusset stitches. And as always, with the way I use to knit socks, the way that brings me the most joy with socks knitting, I love to cast them both on two different needles and to make progress on both socks parallelly, I think you say, at the same time. Work the cuff here and then work the cuff on the second one. And I don't know why, but this is the way I like to knit socks. Not 100% of the socks I work this way, but in most cases. And I wanted to mention another thing here. Yeah, I split, because I like to work on both of them, I split the yarn to two balls so I can have them, ready for each sock. And I do change the needle, and I use a long circular needle for the heel flap, for the heel turn, and for the toe, later for the toe section. The pattern I follow is a plain vanilla sock. To be honest, I have it here to show you. It's a plain vanilla sock. It's not anything special, but it includes all the little things that I like to do on my plain vanilla sock pattern. And it's a pattern I written and have here available in Hebrew for the knitters here in my weekly knitting groups. And yes, sometimes I have, like Friday workshops or special one-time workshops that if the knitter would like to start knit socks, this is what I usually give them. So it's written in Hebrew and it's not available yet in English, but to be honest, there are so many excellent vanilla socks patterns out there, and if I would recommend you to, if you don't need socks yet and you want to start, I recommend that you check out the Crazy Sock Lady YouTube channel. She has a written pattern which is pretty much the same as mine. I will in a second tell you, at least one thing that I do differently, but she has an excellent YouTube tutorial from start to finish how to knit a vanilla sock on 9-inch circular or on magic loop. So it's a great way to learn if you just want to start knitting, to try it, to try this addictive knitting. I don't want to confuse you, but if you have knitted socks, I like to, on my heel turn second row, I like to purl 5, and this is something that I do differently. And also on the pickup section, I don't mind if I have different number of stitches picked on both sides of the sock. If you tried knitting socks, you know what I'm talking about, but usually I don't mind, like if I have here 16 stitches picked up and here 17 stitches picked up. I don't mind. I don't care if I don't have the same number of stitches, because I just decrease the gusset stitches until I'm back to my original stitch count. So yeah, I think this is much more than I plan to share regarding my stripy socks. Anyway, this work in progress provides so many hours of joyful knitting, and these stripes of both colors working together, they just fill my heart. I like it. I find it, I don't know, it's special. I like the way the colors come together. It's fresh, it's something new. I never knitted these or crocheted with, I don't know, I like the neon combination with this mauvey color. So this is the first work in progress for today. The second work in progress that I wanted to share with you today is it sits here. It lives here in my Nina bag. It's a crochet pattern shared on Etsy and Ravelry, my crochet pattern. I will link this pattern down below in the description box for you. I made it from Mayak fibers. I think they're 100% wool. I held 3 strands together with 5mm crochet hook. So this project lives here until it gets small. For, you know, this project is a crochet blanket, and it will grow, I hope, soon. But this week I spent quite some time with this project, and I am talking about my Soft Rose Granny Square summer throw. Yeah, I work on a summer throw, and this week I spent quite some time to try and plan the layout of my squares, because I decided last week, I shared it with you, to incorporate this kind of like squares together, oh, not these ones. Let's see. Okay, in some cases I organized everything very well for this episode, but not here. So I decided to incorporate these 2 squares. So basically it's the same square, but in this one, after I complete the Soft Rose square, I add a front post slip stitch round with picot stitches in each corner. So this week I made a few sketches to see if I want I'm not sure you will see it, but what I made here, I said, okay, if I want my blanket to be 12 or 13 squares by 10 or by 9, how will I want to incorporate, in which specific layout I want to see these in the blanket? Because I don't want it to be on each square, and I want to, you know, plan it ahead. Can you see it? So I made a few options, and I got the idea of how many squares I will need to prepare, how many squares like these ones I will need to prepare, and I made quite a few. So I think I finished a full ball of, I crochet these squares. I shared it many times here in the past. I crochet these squares using the Knitting for Olive. I have it here actually. The Knitting for Olive Merino in color Soft Rose. And by the way, I have a full tutorial of how I crochet the Soft Rose squares here on my YouTube channel. I will link it down below in the description box for you. And this week I finished a full skein, which means I crocheted 8 Soft Rose Granny Squares, because each one of the balls, each ball makes 8 squares. So this week I finished not just one ball, so I crocheted 8 squares. I also made quite a few, completed this front post slip stitch round. So I made a few with just leftover yarns that I have in my stash. Most of them are from my Row 1 subscription, so they are hand-dyed sock wool. They are fingering weight as well, just like the granny square itself. So it's very like you have, you know, a few kind of yarns, and so it will be, how do you say? It will be variegated, I think. You will have a few different options. So I'm not using only one yarn, but I'm using, you know, different. Okay, let's Let me show you these two. Yeah. So this week I prepared quite a few squares with this little detail addition on top of them. And I also made a tutorial for you of how I made it, how I crochet it from start to finish. Just because I know that you, at least a few of you, will ask for it, and also because I already have a tutorial of how I knit the soft rose square. So I thought, why not to share? If you started a job, you will need to complete it. So with this idea, I decided to create a video tutorial of how I crochet the front post slip stitch round. So let me insert it here for you, and I will meet you back here after this tutorial. So next I'm going to show you how I add this cute little round to my soft rose squares. This is the front post slip stitch round with 2 picot stitches in each corner. And I have a full tutorial of how I crochet my soft rose squares here on YouTube, where I show how I crochet these squares from start to finish. I will leave a link to this tutorial down below in the description box for you. But for now, I want to show you how I add the front post slip stitch round to the 3rd round on this square. I will need, I think, less than 2 meters of yarn, and I will use the same hook size that I use for my squares, a 3mm hook size. My squares are made out of fingering weight yarn, and so I use the same yarn for the slip stitch front post round that I'm going to show you now, just leftovers from sock yarns, hand-dyed sock yarns. So first I want to make sure that I can see the 3rd round clearly. So I want to go ahead and look at the 1st round. This is the 1st round of the square, and this is the 2nd round of the square. And I want to add this round to the 3rd round. So this is the 3rd round. And I made a free trials and decided that for me it's best to start on the 3rd double crochet stitch right after the corner. So this is the corner space. 1st double crochet, 2nd, and I want to insert my hook between the 2nd and 3rd double crochet stitch. And now I want to hug this double crochet stitch, the 3rd one, from behind, and take the hook out between this double crochet stitch and the next one. And now I want to put the yarn on my hook and bring it all the way back from where I just came in. And next I will chain 1, and I will consider this chain 1 as the 1st front post slip stitch. Next I want to insert my hook between these 2 double crochet stitches. So I want to insert my hook here in this space between these 2 double crochet stitches. I want to hug with my hook to hug the next double crochet stitch from behind, put the yarn on my hook and go back through, and then go back through the loop I already have on my hook. And this is the 1st front post slip stitch made. And now I want to insert my hook to make the next one. I want to insert my hook in this space between these 2 stitches, so between the one I just hugged and between the next one, the one next to it. And now I want to hug the next double crochet stitch from behind and put the yarn on the hook, go back through this space and through the loop I already have on my hook. And this was the 2nd front post slip stitch. And the next one is done just the same. So I want to go into this space between these two double crochet stitches, hug the next stitch from behind, and take my hook out from the next space. Put the yarn on my hook, go back, and go through the loop I already have on my hook. And this way I will make front post slip stitch around each of the next double crochet stitches all the way up until the corner. Yeah, and this is the corner stitch. And now I want to make 2 picot stitches for the corner. So each of the picot stitches is made out of 3 chain stitches. So I want to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and now to complete this picot stitch, I want to insert my hook into the first chain made and under one loop only, so under this loop only. Insert my hook, take a yarn, and go back through this loop and through the loop I already have on my hook. And I want to make another picot just the same way for the corner. So 1, 2, 3 chain stitches, and now I want to slip stitch in the first chain made. So this is the corner made, and now I want to go ahead and make a front post slip stitch around each of the double crochet stitches on this side of my square. So I insert my hook into the corner space, hug the stitch, the double crochet stitch from behind, and go out with my hook in the space between the next 2 double crochet stitches. Put the yarn and go back through this space and through the loop I already had on my hook. And then make front post slip stitch under the next double crochet stitch and the next double crochet stitch, and under all the double crochet stitches I have on this side until I reach the next corner. And for the corner I will crochet 2 picot stitches. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the first chain, and again chain 3 and slip stitch into the first chain made. And now I can continue making front post slip stitches around all the double crochet stitches on this side of the square. Yeah, next corner, 2 picot stitches, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the third stitch, into the first stitch of these 3 chain stitches, sorry. 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch into the first. So down here into the first. Yeah. And now I'm ready for the last side of the square of this round. It's the 3rd round on my soft rose square, and now I split the yarn. Let's do it again. And you can crochet this round on every round on your square, whichever round you choose. And last corner. This is the fourth corner. 1, 2, 3, next picot. So 2 picot stitches on each corner. And let me show you how I complete this round. So I want to make a front post slip stitch on the next double crochet, and I think this is the last one. Yeah, this is the last one. Front post slip stitch. Yeah, now I want to make the loop on my hook a little bit big, and I can cut the yarn, but I want to cut the yarn leaving a little bit of a yarn tail so I can weave it in. In just a minute, I will show you how I weave it in. And now I can take this loop and pull it all the way up to fasten off. And let me show you what I do with these yarn ends. So I want to thread this yarn end that I just cut onto a tapestry needle. But before I weave in the yarn ends, I want to close the round using the invisible join. So I want to, because I'm going to make a fake stitch, I want to skip one stitch. So the first chain stitch, this is the first chain stitch, I want to skip it, and I want to go under both loops of the next stitch. So the next, like this V stitch, just like so, under both loops. Pull the loop, the yarn all the way up, and now I want to go back and insert my tapestry needle in the middle of this V stitch. Can you see? Right in the middle of this stitch. I hope it is clear. You can see it clear enough. And then I take my yarn all the way down and back to the wrong side of the work. I give it a little tug because I want to make it in the same size of all the stitches here. So I think it looks quite good. And now I'm ready to weave in the yarn end, and I will go ahead and hide it under these. Let's see, first I will take it here under these 2 stitches, and now I will hide it under these corner stitches. So these are the legs of the double crochet I made on this corner, and I want to make sure nothing shows on the right side of the work. And then I will go to the wrong direction, back again, the other direction, and I think I will go back once more, just to be on the safe side. But let me see if, no, nothing shows on the right side of the work. So now I'm ready to cut this yarn end, and I have another yarn left from where I attach this yarn. So I will thread it, and this is what I do with this yarn end. So I go under the V stitches all the way up until the next corner. And I do that because I want to hide this yarn end using another corner, because I don't want both of them to get, you know, stuffed in the same, under the same corner. So this is what I do. And this is the last stitch. And now I can take it to the wrong side of the work. And now I can go ahead and hide it underneath these legs of the double crochet I made in this corner. So one direction and the opposite direction, and then again a little bit to the other direction, and nothing shows on the right side. And I'm ready to cut the yarn. And yeah, this is it. This is exactly how I crochet this cute little detail on my soft rose squares. And this is how it looks from the wrong side. And yeah, this is it. This was my front post slip stitch round tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. And I think you might want to, mark yourself that this tutorial is a part of this specific episode, so you can come back to it whenever it's relevant for you. And I think this is something that I also wanted to share with you, but I made some thoughts about, I was thinking about how if I needed to give my episodes numbers, like many of my fellow knitters, YouTubers here do on YouTube. And eventually I decided to go back to everything that I uploaded in 2020, since the beginning of 2024, and from the first episode to start and give my episodes numbers. So if you will ask me a question in the future, I can refer and point you to a specific episode where you can find the answer for your question. And I think it will be a good idea for you if you will mark yourself that this tutorial is in this specific episode number 7. So it is available for you, and you don't have to go back and search for it in the future whenever you are ready, if you want to, or if you plan to crochet such round and to add it to any of your crochet granny squares project. This round can be added to many kind of granny squares, or any other project that you feel like. So yeah, I think this is it for today. This is everything I wanted to share with you today. So you can see we start to lose light here, so it's getting a little bit darker outside. Anyway, before I wrap up this episode, I just wanted to remind you that you can send your question to the email below, so I can gather all your questions and create, a special Q&A episode for you. And yeah, next I will share some footage I took for you during the week. I started the week with a lovely walk in the nature, not very far from our place. I met a friend that I didn't meet for quite a while, and we had a lovely walk. And in this walk I also happened to meet, I'm sorry for the noisy ambulance outside. Yeah, so in this lovely walk I happened to, she took me to a lovely, I don't know, gardener or a small farmer next to her, and he grows organic vegetables and some hydroponic leafy greens. And yeah, I was lucky enough to come back home with a huge fennel and lemon from her tree, a huge fennel, and a very uncommon shape of carrot, which is already in use. It's now at these very moments in the oven in my new batch of beef bone broth. So yeah, I also took footage of this, and I will also share a daily progress on my strappy socks with you. So I hope you will enjoy. I think this is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you on the next one. Until then, happy making, everyone. Bye.